Good morning, students. In the previous part, we had started studying about the female reproductive system, where we studied about how the structures of this female reproductive system, that is primary sex organs called the pair of ovaries, and the other organs such as the uterus, the fallopian tube, the vagina, and the other glands are held together. Today, in this part, we will be studying the structures in further details. But before starting with the structures in further details, let us just revise what we had studied yesterday. So the female reproductive system, it comprises of two parts, the primary sex organ, that is a pair of ovaries, and same as in males, the function of the ovaries over here is to produce female gametes and to secrete the female hormones. As I said earlier, in males, the primary sex organ there, the testis, used to prepare the male gamete and secrete the male hormone. Here the primary sex organ is the ovary, which secretes the female hormone and it produces the female gamete. The other organs other than the primary sex organs are the uterus, the fallopian tube, vagina, and the other glands. So with the ovary, starting with the ovary, they are intra-abdominal in nature. So it is a small almond shaped structure which is about 8 centimeters long and 5 centimeters wide, and they are located in the pelvic region, that is in the abdominal cavity. Now they are suspended to this particular region by a transparent mucus folds which is known as mesovarium. So it is held in this place by the transparent fold called mesovarium. The oocytes are released from the ovaries and they are conducted through this fallopian tube. Now this fallopian tube, it has regions. This is the ampulla, which further is having regions such as this funnel shaped region called as the infundibulum, and upper to it is the isthmus. Lower to the infundibulum are these finger like projections which is known as the fimbriae, and the function of this fimbriae is to do some movement and create a suction so that the eggs which are or the oocytes which are formed in this ovary is conducted into the fallopian tube. We also studied about the uterus. So this is the uterus, which is also called the womb, and this is the place where the fertilized egg or the fertilized oocyte is implanted. So it is fertilized into the fallopian tube and then it is implanted into this uterus. The uterus, it is having three layers. The outermost layer, which is fibrous in nature. So if it is fibrous in nature, its role is protection, which is known as the perimetrium. The second layer is a thick muscular layer. It is a well developed layer and it is known as the myometrium. So this is the middle layer. And inner to the myometrium, there is this one layer which is highly vascular and it has number of folds. This inner layer is known as endometrium. The upper part, that is this upper bulging part of the uterus, this is called the fundus of the uterus or the fundic part. And this lower part is known as the body of the uterus. The body of the uterus is further descending into this narrow opening which is called the cervix. And the cervix, it further opens into the part which is called the vagina. The vagina, lower to this, it has an opening which is called the vulva, and the vulva is the part which is having a membranous structure which is called the hymen. So this was all about the structures that are held together into this female reproductive organ. Now, first we'll be starting about the internal structure of the ovary into this part. So let us start with the internal structure of the ovary. So ovary, it is intra-abdominal, that is, they are formed inside the abdominal cavity. And inside the ovary we find follicles in different stages of development. So here you can see these follicles which are in different stages of development. Let us first talk about the outermost layer of the ovary. This outermost layer of the ovary is called tunica albuginea. This is fibrous in nature. So if it is fibrous in nature, it plays the role of protection. The inner layer is divided into two zones. The outer zone is known as the cortex, which is made up of reticular connective tissue, and the inner zone is known as the medulla, which is made up of areolar connective tissue. And in this medullary region you see these follicles in different stages of development. So further, let us study the different stages of development of these follicles. So there are many primary follicles as you see over here, and every month one follicle out of all these grow and they mature into a larger follicle which is known as the mature Graafian follicle. So here you see the developing follicle. So one follicle out of this is developing, and it reaches a stage where it is called a mature Graafian follicle. So this is a Graafian follicle. Let us see the structure of this Graafian follicle in the next slide. So here you can see this is the Graafian follicle, the mature Graafian follicle. The secondary oocyte, which is here in the middle, has many layers of the Graafian follicle. So the eccentric secondary oocyte, it is surrounded by a non-cellular layer, and this non-cellular layer is known as zona pellucida. Outermost layer is known as the protective layer, which is called theca externa, and inner to theca externa there is a layer which is called theca interna. And inner to theca interna, the follicular cells form the membrana granulosa. So this is the membrana granulosa. So the cell surrounding the secondary oocyte, this is called the corona radiata, which is a part of this membrana granulosa. And there is also a fluid filled cavity, this cavity which is called antrum, and this antrum, it lies between the membrana granulosa and the oocyte. The fluid which is there into this cavity, that is antrum, is called the liquor folliculi. So the secondary oocyte, this is not just floating into this cavity, but it is held up with this mass of cell. So this is the Graafian follicle. After the completion of the Graafian follicle, it ruptures, and when it ruptures, the secondary oocyte is released. And this stage is known as ovulation. And after ovulation, the Graafian follicle, it remains empty. This empty Graafian follicle is going to show three stages. The first is where the follicle is ruptured and the oocyte is released, and some blood vessels are also ruptured. So there is, for obvious, there is blood loss. This stage is called corpus hemorrhagium. And as there is a rupture, after some times this blood vessel, it undergoes clotting, and now the next stage is formed which shows an empty follicle over here, and this stage is called corpus luteum. So there is this early corpus luteum stage and the later corpus luteum stage. Now the function of this corpus luteum stage is to produce the hormone progesterone. But this acts as a temporary endocrine gland. So they are producing this hormone on a temporary basis. Further, in the next stage, this follicle is seen degenerating, and the stage is called corpus albicans. So we see various stages of development in the ovary, and these changes are up to the ovulation stage. So that is the reason that every month one egg is released. Now in the next slide, we will talk about the external genitalia in females and the glands that are associated with the female reproductive organ or the female reproductive system. So the external genitalia in female, this is known as the vulva, and it is having a depression which is called the vestibule. And in this vestibule there are two openings. The upper opening is called the urethral opening and the lower opening is called the vaginal opening. And the vaginal opening is the one which is covered by a thin membrane which is known as the hymen. Now this depression, this is guarded by two folds of skin. So the inner fold of skin is known as labia minora, and the labia minora has its upper end a little loose. So this loose end of labia minora is known as the prepuce. And this prepuce, it covers a very small erectile tissue which is known as the clitoris. Clitoris, it is found to be homologous to penis, as both of them have the same tissue, that is corpora cavernosa. The corpora cavernosa tissue which is responsible for erection. So this clitoris, it is found to be homologous with penis. Outside to labia minora, there is also one more fold of skin, which is bigger fold of skin, which is known as labia majora. So this is labia majora. Now labia majora, it is considered to be homologous to the scrotum or the scrotal sac in the males. And the fleshy elevation above the labia majora, this is called mons pubis, which is the outer part of the labia majora, and it shows the pubic hair. Now talking about the glands, in the vestibular region, in this vestibular region, on both sides of the vaginal opening, there is a small gland which is known as Bartholin's gland, or it is also called as bulbovestibular gland. And this gland, it secretes mucus, so the vagina is kept lubricated. This gland, it is found to be homologous to the corpus gland in male, because both of them are responsible for producing mucus. Now, talking about the second gland is known as the mammary gland. Commonly it is called as the breast. They are actually compound tubulosaccular glands, and they are also known as modified sweat glands. Why are they called compound tubulosaccular glands? Because their structure is such that it is both having tubular structure as well as sac-like structure. So the name is given compound tubulosaccular gland. The bulging part that you see, this is the breast, and the anterior erectile part that you see, this is the nipple. So just behind the nipples, you see this lactiferous glands located between the two dark brown color circular skin. This is the dark brown color circular skin. So this dark brown color circular skin is between this nipple and the lactiferous glands. This dark brown circular color skin, this is known as the areola. Now let us see how are these glands located. So the lactiferous glands, these lactiferous glands, they are tubular saccular glands, and these glands open by a duct into the nipples. In the areolar region, that is this region, there is a swollen region called as ampulla, the lactiferous ampulla. The function of this ampulla is that the ampulla stores milk temporarily. So the development of this mammary gland, it takes place in the puberty stage, and the further enlargement takes place during the pregnancy. Now in the puberty stage, when this mammary gland is developed, it is developed under the influence of two hormones, that is estrogen and the progesterone, known to be the most main, you can say main female hormone. And during pregnancy, when this mammary gland enlarges, it is in influence of the LTH, that is lactotropic hormone or prolactin. So the function of this gland, it is to produce milk so that the newborn babies can be immediately supplied by the nutrition by the mother. So here we have seen all the parts of the female reproductive system, and we have also studied about the external genitalia, how it is and what are the parts of it, and we have also seen the glands which are associated with it. In the next part, here we will be studying about the puberty or the sexual maturity in males and females. So puberty is the age at which the reproductive system, it becomes functional. The sex organs begin to produce gametes and sex hormones. Now in males, the onset of this puberty, it occurs at the age of 12 to 15 years under the influence of the hormone testosterone. Also there is, you can see there are some secondary sexual characters that appear, like the shoulders get wider, there is again the enlargement of the larynx, that is Adam's apple. There is facial hair, that is the mustache and the beard is seen in males. The pubic hair is seen. Then the neck, the male, they become more muscular, that is the neck, chest and the leg. The muscles of these parts, they become strong and they become heavy. And also there is observed the hair underarm hairs. So thereafter, like all these secondary characters and the influence of the hormone testosterone, in males they remain functional throughout their life. In females, the reproductive system, it becomes functional at puberty, and this is characterized by the onset of the menstrual cycle. This menstrual cycle, it is also known as menarche. This usually occurs at the age of 10 to 14, and unlike in males, the mature females show cyclic changes in their reproductive system, that is the menstrual cycle. Also there is, like males, there are some sexual characters which are observed in females, that is the curves in the body part. Then again the hip bone, it becomes wider, that is the pelvic region, as the female reproductive part it develops. Then there is breast that starts developing, the leg muscle gets bigger and stronger. Then there is more weight gaining, and the skin becomes oilier. This is the most common thing which is seen in all the teenagers, that is when they are on the onset of their puberty, that the skin gets oilier and then they have this acne issues. So in females, the onset of the menstrual cycle is the onset of their puberty, but this cycle, it continues only up to the menopause, and this menopause, it normally happens at the age of 45 to 50 years. So the period of the menarche and menopause is thus the reproductive age of the female, and the female is unable to bear children after the menopause. Menarche and menstrual cycle and the menopause, this is controlled by the gonadotropic hormones of the females. So this was all about the puberty, and then we studied about the female reproductive organ or the female reproductive system earlier. In the next part, we will be starting with the menstrual cycle, and we will be studying about different menstrual phases that the female goes through, followed by gametogenesis.